I'm going to tell you, like, I'm not the best at anything, right? I'm not the best at anything, I'm not the best speller, I'm not the best public speaker. And you don't ever have to be the best. You just have to be your best.
Absolutely.
You just have to literally do, if you want something, you just have to make it happen. Yeah. You want a better job, you want a better relationship, you want a better situation where you're at home, you're growing some of your own produce. You literally make that 1% improvement by walking, by eating better, by talking to someone who can help you, a coach, or there's loads of free information out there. There's all the information in the world. You have AI to tell you how to do everything. But the thing is, you have to do it.
This podcast is part of the GK Media Studios Creators Network, helping people tell their stories. Become a storyteller today and learn about our podcaster network at gkmediastudios.com.
Welcome to today's episode of When You Choose You podcast. We have a very special guest. He's the brightest person I know ever. I met Colman on Instagram. We did a live, I think 14 months ago. And I begged him for you guys to come in person because he said, no, I'll do a Zoom. No, I said, it's not the same. Please come. So Colman and I, we are alike. We have the same passion for health, but I think he's more energetic than I am. Definitely more energetic than I am. I'm delighted to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation and traveling all the way from Waterford.
Thanks for having me. Delighted to be here.
So let's tell people what you are doing. Let's start there. And you are a nutritionist, an organic grower, an author, a personal trainer, and what else?
I'm probably I'm going to say, all-round healthiest man in Ireland at the minute. We're chalking it down. I've said it now for about a year, and I'm just looking for, I suppose, anyone else who wants to come up the top rankings for a bit of competition.
Very good.
Yeah.
I like that. Competition is good. I like competition because it stimulates the growth. And I think we are our own competition. The real competition, what we have, it's not with anyone else. It's with ourselves.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, totally. And I'm only joking about that.
Oh, I know. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's a positive one in that regard, because it's a good point, Colman. We are very prone to, when you run your own business, I think you always have that, what's happening, who is there, what is doing, why can I... Do you sense that, or you are just on your own and you don't mind what's...
Well, I'll just say my own best experience is what I'll share with you guys. It's the idea that, like, I'm just trying to improve myself. And sometimes I go, Jesus, in my head, if you're going for a walk, I'll try walk faster than that person. You're in the swimming lane and you go, I'll try swim faster than that individual. And that's the way maybe of trying to better in yourself. Or there's other times where I'm just going, right, last year I did this amount of jobs, and this year I'm going to do a slightly bit more of that, and or maybe do more things online or do more in-person in courses. So it's just kind of, suppose, that growth mindset, and that, I suppose, brings me on to, like, my major passion, getting people growing their own, because it couldn't be simpler.
Yes, exactly. And when did you start? Where did you start? What drove this passion?
Yeah, I suppose it's a really good question. When did it start? It started in September 1990, 24th of September. In fact, that's when I was born. And I accept all birthday cards, and gifts with those. So the idea is, I didn't grow up with a farming background. My mother and father are psychiatric nurses, so a million miles away there's no farm at home. There's no animals. There's a couple of dogs, a couple of cats, do you know what I mean? But that's about it for the most part. So there isn't...
That's interesting, though.
Yeah, so I fell into it. I'm dyslexic by trade. I misspell loads of different things in my posts. I misspelled weight there yesterday and wrote something else on it. I can't remember what I wrote. But and I write those things regularly, but it's not something that I ever focus in on. The things that I'm not so good at, I always focus in on what I am better at. I'm definitely better. I suppose highlighted this throughout the number of years. I'm better at talking, and I've kind of now excelled at doing different things like podcasts and different, I'm going to say, interviews or videos online. That's what I much prefer, as opposed to a written text where I'm still, even up to this year, I misspelled my name, which I've been writing since I'm about 4 years old. Could you credit that? But yeah, during secondary school, I then struggled passed my leaving cert, thank goodness. Went on to the likes of my second opportunity to go into college, and didn't get my first choice, wanted sports. Didn't make it because I didn't study a tap in secondary school, and second one was horticulture because I would have done anything that had me not sitting down for 8 hours a day, starting at 9, finishing at 5. Just didn't enjoy that. Didn't want to do that. That's one thing I didn't know. I didn't always know that I wanted to be a horticulturist, but in saying that, I'm not just a horticulturist. I have loads of different things that I do. My job is very varied, just like my diet, which I'm sure we can touch on a little bit of as well.
Of course.
So that's well worth noting, and fell into it.
Because it's unusual, that's why I asked if you were telling us that you are coming from a farming background, I would have said, yeah, it makes sense, whatever. No, nothing extraordinary. But the fact that you are not coming from a farming background and in Ireland, like, what drove you? Like,
I do like to do things different. So in college, then I studied horticulture and specialised in my master's degree in organic horticulture. I suppose that I didn't grow up with it. It probably helped me because I didn't have that. I had to do this. I had to do that.
Okay.
I chose to do it. I chose to do horticulture. I chose to do organic horticulture. I chose to get into the growing trade and do that for 8 years, producing
Thank
fruit.
you so much for saying that word, because you are on when you choose you. And that's such a joy to hear that you, despite of everything else, you choose what you felt was the call.
Yeah, and
Brilliant.
And I love it now because I've made it a lifestyle of growing my own or buying it or stopping off in the urban co-op yesterday and getting, I'm going to say, gifts and coming and staying with a friend of mine and giving those as something that we cooked as a meal together, both greens, fruits, vegetables, eggs, meats for dinner last night, and the likes of, I'm going to say, for breakfast this morning. So that's kind of something that happened organically, if you want to call it that, and I love it because foods have a massive part to play in the way you look and you feel, how much energy you have. If people actually just took that on board, because so many people, I'm going to say, the first thing they ask me, say, what are you taking? And I'm like, Jesus, I don't even drink coffee. I'm drinking hot water and nettle tea here in front of me. Do you know what I mean? There's no caffeine in that, so I don't need caffeine. And not necessarily that caffeine is bad. It's a natural stimulant. But you can literally thrive off different food items, right? From the moment you get up to the moment you go to bed, like your body runs off protein, fats and carbs. The best foods you can possibly get can be produced in Ireland. And that's, I suppose, a major emphasis of what I want more and more people to do. Eat real food. It's not a diet that I want anyone to, I'm going to say, pick and choose. I just want them to literally eat the best foods they possibly can. And that's what I wrote about in the likes of my book, The Power of Organic Fitness, which is, again, a simple, easy, open page anywhere, any chapter, and you can literally learn one golden nugget and have a chat with either at lunchtime or at breakfast or at dinner with a friend or a family member.
What means fitness for you?
What does fitness mean to me? So I suppose it is different for everyone. For me, it's to be able to be physically flexible enough to walk, to jog, to do home workouts is predominantly what I do with my online clients, and I train people all over the country. I have a couple of people in America, and that's, I suppose, something that I thrive myself on. I'm nearly 35 and want to, I suppose, be as active and as fit as I possibly can be, and that's from doing stretches, that's from walking, right? And before I came in here, because I knew I'd be sitting down for an hour, I went for an hour walk on the likes of the Salt Hill, would you call it, the promenade?
Salt Hill, yes.
Yeah, went for a walk. I kicked the wall.
Very good.
Kicked the wall in my Birkenstocks and shorts. I tell you what, which I'm a major believer in, exposing the likes of your skin to the likes of that sunlight and the wind in and as much as I possibly can. That literally preps you
and
for the summer.
also because I know you are a big believer in touching the ground and the effect of grounding and all of that. I am going through some pain in my legs lately, and I went yesterday to an Amatsu therapy session. It's Amatsu what I'm doing when I have this, and the best advice what I got was walk barefoot. And you know what? The difference in only from yesterday to today, giving up the shoes inside in the house, the slippers and all of that, and just put another pair of socks and walk. Feel how you put your feet down and all of that. It's so important.
Yeah. It's the basis of, I suppose, the idea, you strengthen your body, your 2 feet, to literally ground you, that literally help you to stand up tall, straight, confident. And that's another part of being healthy, like getting outside and getting steps and walks in as much as you possibly can, even on the dark winter days. I know, but the sun just happens to be out now that I came up, and I brought it in
You
my
did,
bag,
yeah, definitely.
all the way from the sunny southeast all the way up to Gallup. And other things that I'm trying to improve on is my Irish this year. So that's just something that, do you know what I mean? It's not just about health for me. It's about the whole life cycle of it.
Do you think that we overcomplicate things when it comes to fitness and health?
Massively. I mean, unbelievably so. I'm so glad you asked that question. People are talking about this diet, that diet, and we don't even do the simple things, right? We're not getting 8 hours sleep. We're not eating real foods. We're trying to literally fathom out what is the best, I'm going to say, mitochondria effect I can have by eating a food item maybe before 6 o'clock in case it affects the likes of my blood sugar levels. And I should test my blood sugar levels, even though I'm not doing the ABCs of eating proteins, fats and carbs, which the body breaks down and needs and are essential.
Totally. Yeah. I'm so glad that, so clear, so simple. So I'd always say when things are getting too complicated, that's wrong. That's the signal, red flag. There is no way that's the way. Because we were not designed for that complicated. Like, I know we are talking about AI and all this tech and IT, but you know what? I think basics are basics and they should remain basics.
Yeah, but and AI is am I okay? We'll have to mostly move with the past or move with the future, otherwise we'll get left in the past. But the idea is people are talking about using AI and they don't even know how to turn on the phone. Right? Just I'm trying to compare that to people that are talking about all these unbelievable diets, 3 days fasting. What? You don't even know what fasting, do you know what I mean? You don't know what fasting even does for you fully before and understanding the basics of nutrition. That protein contains 4 kilocalories per gram. So does the likes of your carbohydrates, and the likes of your fats that literally are essential contain 9 kilocalories. People don't know that and then are trying to maybe lose weight. But for the most part, we're not doing the simple things. We're not understanding food at its basic level, what it does to the body. What does protein do? Oh, it builds muscle. Well, not if you're not lifting, I'm going to say, heavy weights. So don't be afraid of that, any women listeners to this. And people say, oh my God, Colman, I wouldn't like to eat too much protein. I wouldn't want to get bulky, or I don't want any muscles like you. I'd be like, this took me, the amount of muscle I have now, about 18 years to build. Don't worry, in the next 6 weeks, you won't build that type of muscle. Like, for love nor money, it doesn't. If people eat protein, they don't put on muscle or weight. In fact, it actually maintains muscle.
Yes, and not only that, but people, when I say protein, I bet you every second person will think of powders and bars and all of that. They don't think of what foods are source of protein. I don't think we are educated that way.
Yeah, you're right. People would think of, Colman, one of the often first questions asked
powders.
What supplements do you recommend? Right, the definition for supplement is to supplement what you don't get from your diet. All right, the protein sources: chicken, fish, turkey, eggs, tofu, tempeh, lentils, right, yogurts, cheeses, all protein sources that can be easily gotten. Irish can even be easier gotten, I'm going to say, organically. And for the most part, that's what you do. You do your best to add in those food items before you take any supplement in on top of it, because your body breaks down foods completely different from a powder, as opposed to the likes of a whole food, which is much more, I'm going to say, enjoyable to sit down. If let's say we had 2 protein shakes here, as opposed to maybe a meal with eggs and or greens and tomatoes and or more so in season, I'm going to say, greens.
Yes, but also is you supposed to use your mouth to chew the food. And we lose that completely when we have the powders, and we all the time go on shakes and smoothies and all of that. So it's a whole dynamic of what food and what nourishing ourselves means. And it's different than what we see out there.
Yeah, and that brings in, I suppose, the whole point of gut health. Gut health is a huge part to play in your overall health, and is a section, a full chapter in the likes of my book, because, right, when we chew things, and first even go further back than that, when you chop vegetables, that is the first part of the digestion process. You start to salivate. Salivating, okay, builds up the enzymes in your mouth, which then go down to the likes of your stomach, and you're preparing the gut for these foods. We're living in a world now, we don't even get takeaways. We don't drive them anymore. People aren't. We literally get them delivered to the door, and we literally grab them. We sit down, we open the plastic container, heated in microplastics, mental in itself. We then eat that, watching the likes of the television or the phone, or both at the same time, which then again doesn't send the signal to the gut, to the brain, which are connected to a nerve called the vagus nerve, and then it sends signals not only of the likes of that you're satiated or you're full, but also happy hormones.
And I have to make a confession, I never put that together. It's actually messes up massively, the vagus nerve. Now, I'm a big believer and I know all the time, but it's like, you know what? That's exactly what happens. You don't drop your attention, like your mind is busy to process the information what comes from the telly or from the phone instead of focusing on digestion.
Yeah. And you're much more likely to connect with the people. We're losing connection with people because
that's another thing. That's always was in my back. Like, okay, you eat, you connect with food and all of that. But it's not only that, it's the physicality of digestion process. Like the mind usually focuses the attention to the digestion, not in that moment when you focus on tasks and responding an email and texts and all of that. Like, yeah,
we need to slow down. We need to put down the fork and knife, and we need to be appreciative of real food because people are actually crying out for better health.
You are 35.
Mm-hmm. Nearly 35. Give us a break.
34. Sorry.
There we go. Holy God. September we said. Okay, 24. Yes. Don't forget that, right? Write that down on the board.
I mean,
behind me, written down.
So he's 34, lads. Like,
give us a break.
Yeah. So you're 34. How many friends your age or lads your age or guys your age you have what are doing or that you are listening to you?
There's probably two different questions in that. How many people are my age are doing it, or how many people that are doing it in itself? There are more and more people doing it, I'm going to say, just because either they're being influenced positively by me, which is great. I'm going to put myself, if I haven't already, in the influencer category, that people on social media or people that meet me or people that just come across me say, Jesus, yeah, that looks like I'd love a bit of that apple, whatever he's eating. Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of something that I have intentionally been doing over the last 8 years. I looked up to people as I was growing up, and as whether they were influencers themselves or I'm going to say public speakers, they've all helped me to become the tall, the confident individual I am through what I do today. So there are more and more people. Like, I couldn't say to put an equate a number.
Oh, I know, but I'm like I was talking about in figuratively, if I can say, like hypothetically.
Yeah,
because it's like 35. I don't give a shit. I have time to catch up with. And then when mid-40s, I kind of see people 40 plus, see people waking up and say, oh, okay, I have a body. Up to now, I didn't have any body. So you are part of the next generation after me, I would say, that is like, okay, they're awake. They are coming out of the dark and the woods, and they are kind of start to paying attention. And I'm delighted. Like, I mean, I saw my son. My son is, okay, he pays attention when the body says something because he grew up with me and all of that. But he was delighted the day when you delivered the talk for TUS in Limerick. Yeah. He came and he was, oh my God, Mom, I think you know him. He was brilliant. He said, yeah, I know.
I remember that down in Limerick. Yeah, I got to speak in what I think is called an auditorium where you have the tiered. Yeah. And it was a massive big poster behind me. I didn't even make it. Like, right now I'm at that point that I don't necessarily need notes. I don't have notes in front of me. I don't know the questions you're going to ask me either. That's in front of you. And if I didn't know what I'm going to most certainly share with people now at this stage, like all that I need to know, right, I'd never know it. Like, I've so much information, and like, we could talk for hours here. Never mind the hour that we're allocated. We can't go any more than an hour, I was told. So the idea, we can't.
He's lying.
So like nutrition, exercise, growing your own. I've done this lifestyle for the last 10 years, and not to say that I know everything. I've learned even very recently about a different way of sowing potatoes, and I suppose that's something that you learn, whether it's sowing potatoes or a nutritional fact or an exercise, all the time, whatever age you are, whether you're 35, you're 65, you're 95.
You just said about the potatoes. What vegetables you were surprised by growing them in Ireland? No, you didn't, did you?
Yeah, I just certainly did. I just happened to have that one in my
pocket.
In my pocket. We wouldn't know what else is in here. A second one. So we're coming into potato season now. I'm glad you brought that up.
Stop.
So How many podcast guests have you had that brought in potatoes into the likes of the studio?
All of them. They're all coming.
Jesus, I tell you now, this is a great podcast. I'm glad. I was honored to be with these members that are bringing in potatoes. We not only have one, but two, but three. But we have,
you have
we
a
have three.
purple potatoes.
Yeah, that is it.
Yeah.
Right? So the two different potatoes here are an earlier type of potato. I don't necessarily know the variety offhand, but I do know this one that I'm going to talk about. This is called Iron Victory. Right? Potatoes are literally a superfood that some people are afraid of, and I used to be as well. These are both white potatoes, but this is a purple outer flesh and has the antioxidant anthocyanin, which can improve your blood flow. And I would always, actually, we chatted about beetroot up on the way in, up to the
I had my beetroot this morning and I was so happy to share that I had my beetroot. I put all over my clothes, but doesn't matter.
She was just making sure that I knew that she had the beetroot.
Exactly.
That was exactly it. Yeah, we'll get back to that point. So this is a rare enough in itself for people who haven't ever seen it before. It is a variety of potato called Iron Victory. Right? And I get my potato seeds from an Irish supplier based down in Limerick, and that name of the company is Seeds Ireland. And I'm lucky enough to have a discount code Colman 5 COLMAN and 5 after it for not only seed potatoes but also any other seeds. But this
Brilliant.
is something.
Now let's make it clear and repeat that he didn't know the questions before. We didn't discuss that. I have no agenda when I do my podcast, and you know, guys. So I don't know what force drove you to bring the potatoes with you, but I am thankful to that force.
Well, I just love having things that I could plant. So these can be planted. So this variety, potato Iron Victory, has a purple flesh skin, which has benefits similar to the likes of the beetroot, but in the potato form. So it's about adding more of these purple colored foods into your diet. And that's how I actually started. First I was growing a lot of vegetables, and then I had to figure out how would I sell them. So people knowing the benefits. Beetroot, super, as well as the likes of this Iron Victory potato. The skin is purple. It has that antioxidant anthocyanins, which is good for your memory if anyone has brain fog, while also being able to, it's been proven, to reduce wrinkles. Yes, everybody's ears are pricked, and now these have currently been sold out across Ireland. You'll have to start growing them, or can let them from people who have grown them this year. That's Iron Victory. Beautiful potato, right? And it's something that grows unbelievably well and has done for generations. It's an old traditional Irish potato. Just happened to have that one. I could have had anything else. Like I could have onion sets.
An onion, yeah, exactly.
I might have an onion. Maybe I don't. No, not. Yesterday I had all onions in here, so it could have been a different topic we could have discussed.
So let's stay with the potatoes a little bit, because I think that's important. Let's unpack that myth about potatoes. Why do you think that people are afraid of people who are starting to eat healthy? They usually are afraid of potatoes. I tell my clients as well, don't be afraid of potato, because potato is nothing bad about it. It's the opposite. But let's bring a little bit of clarity there.
I suppose a lot of people are afraid of the likes of the white potato in particular as opposed to the sweet potato because it's been demonized. Right? Mm-hmm. Falsely, in my opinion, the idea potato, people have eaten it for centuries. They've been told online or through friends or family members that white potatoes make you fat. I think I'm doing okay. I'd have potato nearly every day. Yeah, there we go. So 2 healthy individuals here, both male and female. So we're literally starting a bit of a trend. Get the white potato back on the plate. Add whatever you would like to it. It's never any one single ingredient food that ever made anybody gain weight. It's ultra processed foods, which people eat in abundance. Okay. And if for some reason you did think it was a white potato, I'm telling you, 99.9% of the time, it's not. The potato is a carbohydrate. It gives you energy. It's the body's first source of energy. That's something that they teach in Nutrition 101. It's something that has been and is a staple in Irish tradition, and you can have it for breakfast, you can have it for lunch, you can have it for dinners. A lot of people complain about the dinners that are being brought into schools. The schools are now bringing me in. We can talk a little bit about that as well. The idea into different primary and secondary grounds to convert it from grass, which they mow every single year. They pay the guy to come in there and cut it every week. And the idea is you could have carrots, spuds, onions, turnips that could be put into meals that literally would be going outside, coming back in
and
zero
not only that, but you educate the new generation food is not coming from supermarket only, and you rely on that, and that crisis, you empty the shelves when things are going. I don't get that, and I don't want to get that. So it's like, okay, we are not talking about that. Another myth when it comes to nutrition is the bread. Can you bring a little bit of,
Yeah.
because I think it's important, and we are two here, so we can back up each other.
Yeah. Good. So bread, again, another one that often is mentioned that is something that gets people to gain weight the instant they literally eat it, or white potatoes, but let's stick with the likes of bread. But not all bread, let's go firstly, is not all bread is created equally. Whether the slogan on the branding at the shop may be so fresh that it's unbelievably famous isn't something that I'd ever lean towards, right? White bread is a refined grain. Right, so that's why whole grain or brown bread or even homemade or even better again, sourdough bread, which is fermented. Fermented foods increase the natural beneficial gut bacteria in your stomach. So as a result of that, you're gaining, I'm going to say, more nutrients because that's what they do. They beneficial bacteria break down more nutrients that allow you to have more energy out the other side of it. So there's a little tip, the tip of the day. Adding in, I'm going to say, fermented foods to your diet. So that's sourdough bread, that's kimchi, that's sauerkraut, that's miso, that's literally 4 off the top of my head there.
Kombucha.
And kombucha, kefir, another 5.
Exactly.
I started that regime as well. So that's something, again, it's all part of a healthy lifestyle. Breads, there are literally the 1, the 2, the 3. White bread is okay. I much prefer for people, in fact, to go with either brown, homemade, even better again. Top of the list is the likes of your sourdough bread. So those are,
So in my case, I always draw a straight line there. The bread what is in the supermarket, the sliced whatever, that's not bread. That's I don't know what it is, but it's not bread. So sourdough, it's totally fine. You can't even have too much because it fills you up, and your brain will get the sensation that it's enough. So you don't have that eating all the time and overeating. But people are still very afraid of bread. Unfortunately, yeah. It's like the potatoes.
Exact same as it. It's because it's been demonized, and it's supposed to something that does, I'm going to say, increase your blood sugar levels. But nobody eats a potato on their own when they just do that test. They go, "Oh, potato will increase the likes of your blood sugar levels." There's nobody eating a potato on their own. They're having it with fish. They're having it with eggs. They're having it with any meat source or tofu or tempeh or lentils if they're vegan or vegetarian. That's the whole idea of it. So I'd be a major fan of potatoes. I'd be a major fan of breads. In particular, my favourite is sourdough breads. And that's one of the gifts that I brought to the likes of my friend's house there last night, instead of a box of chocolates. So there's another healthy tip to add into your lifestyle. Instead of the box of chocolates that people are only eating out of kindness. Oh, thanks for bringing them. We'll open them now. You have 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. I have 1 or 2 or 3. And I'm already after my dinner and everything. I don't need these in on top of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So those are the things that would be much more likely to take out of my diet. So that's exactly it. Before I took out breads, before I took out potatoes, if you're looking to lose weight, I would take out biscuits, chocolates, cakes and everything and alcohol out of your diet or anyone else's diet if they wanted to improve on their health.
I know you are a no booze person. Is it right? You are not drinking alcohol.
I would have it on occasion. It's not that
you have it on occasion.
Yeah,
okay.
I wouldn't be a teetotaler.
Yeah. But were you always like that, or was a conscious decision made around it for the health?
Yeah, no. So through college, I suppose college started that when I was 18. A completely different man. I drank a lot. I lived at home for the most part all through college. Probably my parents wanted to keep an eye on me. So yes, as soon as I suppose I took the decision to be much more health conscious, probably at the age of 24, 25, I started to drink less and less. But if there's any special occasions like weddings, or I didn't have a drink at Christmas, there was no beverages at, I don't think, Valentine's Day or any of those. So for the most part, I just choose when to. And that just suppose doesn't put me into a bracket that I can't do it. And that just puts less stress on me in itself. If there was a celebration of any occasion, like a wedding, which just, my brother has just got engaged in a year's time, I will definitely have a couple of drinks on that evening and enjoy them.
Totally. Do you think that you miss anything by not having alcohol?
Not at all. No. I'm as much crack with alcohol as opposed to without it. Do you know what I mean? People often ask me, "Are you drinking?" or "What drugs are you taking?" I'm like, Jesus, it'd be an awful expensive drug or drink that I'd be taking first thing in the morning to have this much energy or crack. So you don't that's the whole idea. Sometimes people think that you need to take something to have fun. Right? Mm-hmm. If anything, you just need to think something. You need to think more positive. You need to just align your thoughts with more positive ones. And it's we're coming out of winter more so. Yeah, we're meant to be in spring right now. It rained a lot. The sun wasn't around. And the idea is it can't always be sunny, right?
Yeah.
It's got to get bright sometime. And that's what you have to focus in on. You have to focus in on the positives. And I wasn't always as positive. And the idea is you are the average of the people that you literally hang around with or that what you consume. And I don't listen to the news. I never listen to it. I don't have a television. I don't own a television. I don't even recommend the television for the most part, because what's on it? Nothing but doom and gloom.
Yeah.
And it's an organic lifestyle that I would recommend to people to literally, because I know when there's storms coming. I know when there's lockdown this and lockdown that, and when there's something like a storm coming because all the bread seems to disappear off the shelves. But so you don't necessarily need to watch a hell of a lot of news. People can't wait to tell you that somebody died. That's the first thing they'll tell you.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
did you hear about your man over there? He's in. Yeah, I'm going, has that anything got to do with us? There's nothing we can do over there. He's doing whatever he's doing. Fair play to him. Was he not in before? Yeah, there's a fella over in that country, and he's done all that. And yeah, me and you we can't do a whole lot to do with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, focusing on you. You're the most important person in the world. Don't try solve world hunger and world peace left and right when you can't look after yourself. You and your family are the most important people in the world to you. Look after them and surround yourself with positive people, positive foods that give you energy. And then you might be able to eventually, if you became higher up in the ranking, the president or I don't know what the president actually does, but someone higher up that eventually will have an influence on that. So focus on control what you can control, because you only have so much energy in a day, and that's really, really important.
That's so good. That's so important. That's such a great point. You only have such amount of energy in a day, and what you spend on makes so much sense. Thank you. I know from what I see on your social media, on Instagram in particularly, that your meals, the way how you put together the food in your plate is very simple. Basics. I love it. And I always say, guys, food doesn't have to be complicated. I got to a stage in life where I plan very little in advance the meals. I don't, unless we plan to do a roast in a week and then we gather bits. It's a different, and we kind of focus on the process of making. But other than that, all my focus is to have the organic meats, the ingredients, and at any moment in time, I can put together in less than 15 minutes a meal. And I don't get why people are overcomplicate things. I really don't. It's like that's a recipe for disaster when you overcomplicate things.
Yeah, I love that you used it's a recipe for disaster. That was very good.
Yeah, it is.
It is. So exactly that. My meals would take no more than 15 minutes. I like yesterday's, and the quickest meal I can cook is eggs. I'm going to say some form of beans and greens and the sourdough bread. You cook eggs in 8 minutes.
Yeah.
I love them sunny side up, because you gain the advantage then of not damage to the yolk. My mouth is watering, which I like to kind of just put into my mouth with maybe some black pepper, some turmeric, and some pink Himalayan salt or sea salt. That's just literally delicious. So if you don't have 8 minutes for yourself, lads, do you know what I mean? You don't have a weight management problem. You have a time management problem. You need to realise
100%.
that literally we all have the same amount of time, but what you're doing with it. People are on social media, arsing around, doom scrolling. Don't know where you are. Wake up and go, geez, well, I've just literally lost 15, 20 minutes of my life there.
And not only that, but you left a huge amount of energy. You let your guard down, and then all the heavy stuff is coming. And your brain is digesting that, and then you don't know why you're feeling drained by 11 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I'm guilty of that myself. And funny, I keep telling myself, you need to be there because you have a business and you have to, and that's not the biggest lie, bullshit what I sell myself. I sell myself every morning, like, okay, you have to be there. I don't. And then I realize that midday that my God, where my energy is gone. It's nothing to do with food. It's nothing to do with what I consume mentally.
Takes away energy, the one thing that you only have a finite amount of.
How do you harvest your energy? Where do you harvest your energy from?
Where do I get it from? I get it from the likes of the foods that I eat on a regular basis, as well as the people that I meet along the way. I connect with as many positive people. I love social media because I get to connect with yourself. I get to connect with all the like-minded individuals. And that links back to the question of how many people do I think are doing and living a healthy lifestyle. And there's loads of people, and I know a high percentage of them, and it's great because I've met them through social media. Without social media, I wouldn't have had that opportunity to. I've met a woman called Nisha, and I'm going this Saturday in between works to an event up in Dublin where she's teaching not only yoga, but yoga through Irish. That's unbelievable.
Wow, amazing.
To an upbeat music. I love upbeat music. I don't listen to everybody who loves Adele, I'm sorry, the down, the dumps, they got dumped and whatever else she be talking about. I don't listen to that. I listen to the Spice Girls. I listen to anything that's high energy, go from the likes of anything that's top of the pops, that's trendy, that has an upbeat music or sound or lyrics to it, because that's what literally consumes you. There's frequencies out of all and every sound that comes from the earth, whether it's the birds chirping and or it's the tunes that you listen to or in the car and the sound that comes off a podcast that you listen to. So this is a positive podcast. And if you want to listen to more and be positive, I would highly recommend you to listen to more of these shows or anything else that you like and enjoy that gives you that positive effect. Because we all know what the doom and the gloom is, whether it's your friend, whether it's Nancy and work, whether it's Paul. The whole idea of it is you minimize and reduce down the amount of negativity that's in your life if you want to have more energy similar or close to myself.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for pointing that out. What is your routine?
My routine from morning to evening?
Yes.
I typically wake about 5 to 6 every morning.
Are you having alarm?
Yeah, I have an alarm.
Okay.
Yeah, I have an alarm.
I am waking up between 5 and 6 with no alarm.
Oh, very good.
But I'm going to bed. If I miss 9:30, I'm not getting up in the morning. So that's the biological rhythm. I'm doing nothing, just going to make sure that I'm going to bed at 9, and then I sleep by 9:30, and between 5 and 5:30, I'm usually up.
Yeah, good. And that means your circadian rhythm is massively on point. I suppose I could try it without the likes of an alarm. And on Sundays, I don't have an alarm.
Yeah.
And I would wake up relatively close to that. But I want to get in. So I have a routine of that morning ritual that I really enjoy. And it's part of my whole health, healthy lifestyle. So I would get up, I would do some form of, I'm going to say, stretching. I would go outside barefoot, and sometimes I brush my teeth and listen to a podcast at the same time, ticking all 3 boxes. Then I come back in and do a tiny bit of journaling. And then after that, that's my first half an hour of my day is my own. That starts me off on a positive note. And in that journaling, I'm writing down the likes of 3 things that I'm majorly grateful for. And right now, I'm doing, I don't mind saying it, I'm doing the best I've ever done my whole life, and I've worked my tail off. I've wealth there that will never go away from hoeing and weeding and digging and doing commercial growing. And that's something that, you know what I mean, you can't get a positive result without working physically hard. And I've gotten that, and the idea is it won't always be as good as it is now. Right now, I'm super grateful to be asked on to different podcasts, to be on the television twice. I've most certainly brought out my book. I do different talks and different events, like cycling the length of the country, which we
he does that as well. Yeah,
I did that too, and we'll talk a little
bit
about
that at the end.
And those are all things that have massively, I suppose, helped me to excel. Just being myself in that first half an hour, because too many people wake up, they go down to the likes of it, to wake up and they look at their phone straight away and they have all the notifications on. My phone is on airplane mode from 9:30 or 10 o'clock in between whenever I just get to bed till 6:30. You can't contact me. My phone is off. And after that, I open it up then, and then the messages come in, right? And then I reply and get back to all those other people who texted me on after 10 o'clock. And they're like, what are you doing up at that time? And I'd say the exact same. What are you doing up after 10 o'clock?
Yes.
What are you doing? You're literally wasting your time and your energy that everyone here would love more energy. There's no one that's listening to this podcast or watching it on YouTube that wouldn't go, Jesus, I would love more energy. Stop giving it away.
Yeah,
to literally
exactly,
social media. And all.
I cannot stress enough how important is that. Like, even if this is the highlight of this podcast, like, mind your energy. Like, absolutely, the main source of energy is what we put in our bodies, and the quality of the food. We didn't even touch on that. Like, we'll go there. But minding the energy, because you pay extra for or you put extra energy in growing organic and pay. Don't leave the leak of the energy like towards social media, and so you fill the cup from here and you have a leak on the other side, and that's what drains us. And then you don't sleep well and you overthink and all of that. So that's very important. When I hear you talking, I'm just thinking of people your age, because in my case, when you go 40 plus, kind of people are starting to move from corporate to doing their own stuff, slowing down a little bit in that. But in 25 plus until 40s, people are go, achieve. What would you say to someone who, it's easier for him to talk. He works for himself. That's what he does all day. But I need to go to the office and this is my life. So what would you say to someone who complains from that point of view?
If people say that it's easy for me, I'm going to tell you, I would love anyone else to try and do what I do. Try do it. I've a very difficult job. I have to get up and be super disciplined. Disciplined is one of the most difficult things that people to realize that has to be done. I have to do all my social media myself. At this moment in time, I don't have anyone outsourcing that in itself. But maybe to skew off to, instead of people saying it's easy for him or how can I do that? You don't have to do everything I do. Stop comparing yourself to me. I have a routine of doing it for 10 years. When I started off, I wasn't very good. When I started off, you listen back to my first podcast when I started 5 years ago, I definitely wasn't as good as I am now. But you can't get good at something that you don't practice. So you have to start. Hardest part is starting. Stop complaining. Start doing. Start literally doing and being 1% better. Start adding in one more food, one more exercise routine, one more healthy friend podcast or whoever and whatever you want to do in your life. It's not about going from 1 to 100. Stop comparing yourself to somebody else. Start on the ladder and go one step at a time.
100%. Love it. I was never with someone having a guest who I am so aligned with. So easy to talk. It's like listening to myself.
Lovely.
I love that. I absolutely love that. So let's talk about the organic, because that's another myth. Organic is expensive and inaccessible. Inaccessible. So what is your view on that?
My view is the fact that if food is cheap or sold for the equivalent of 49 cents or very close to it in discount stores, the value of it is lost far, far, far beyond the counter. Whether it's the soil, whether it's been sprayed with glyphosate, which is a carcinogenic, and is something that causes inflammation in the gut, which is the root cause to all different diseases. That's the first thing. The individual who picks it, whether it's male or female, they do not get a proper wage, or it's the farmer that doesn't get a proper, wage for what he's produced. And they take the example of tomatoes. They're sown in February, not harvested in February, March, April. They're watered, weeded, April, May, June, July, August, September. All right. That is literally 3 months of the year that organic tomatoes, or any other tomato for that matter, grown in Ireland, is in season. There's a huge amount of process to get from a seed to be trained, to be watered, to be transplanted and harvested and delivered. And you expect it to be 49 cents. People are devaluing food massively, right? We all are looking for better health. It's actually in real foods. It's not in those discount stores.
Oh yeah, I'm going to share something very interesting. I had a client coming in December, I think, in menopause, fully menopausal, and she was complaining about her hair falling. And I said, okay, we did a bit of questioning and assessing, and I realized that she's malnutrition, like completely afraid of food, that type of thing. And I said, okay, get back on, focus on protein, carbs, and all of that. And then in parallel with that, she wanted to do a detox because her thyroid. And fair enough, do the detox. Was no need for detox, because in 10 days of eating the right amount of protein and the right amount of foods, the body started to detox. And she asked me, but I didn't start the detox. Why did I have the detox? What was the symptoms, like headaches, like elimination and all of that naturally? I said, because body knows what to do when you give the body the right amounts and the right food and the right amount of food. You don't need extra. The body knows what to do when you give the body the right things.
Yeah.
So it's like that when you said about supplementation, it's no need for detox. Trust the body because the body has its own detoxification.
Yeah. Most people and listeners to this podcast are actually under eating.
Oh,
They're
so,
under
yeah,
eating their
yeah,
breakfast, they're under eating their lunch, and then they're binge eating. They might have a healthy dinner. They say, great, super job. And then they binge eat on whatever else is in the presses. And that's where often bread gets demonized, because they will reach and crave for bread because their body is starving and looking for energy, because carbohydrates do give us energy. That's one of the first things I was doing with a nutritionist on a consultation call. Give me a rough background of what your daily foods are like. Most people are thinking that not eating is not healthy. It's a massive part to play in.
Not eating is not healthy.
No,
yeah,
it's not.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
And that's where then a fast comes into, I suppose, trend. And then you're under eating massively, and then you're going to binge eat. And that cycle of under eating, overeating, under eating, overeating. And then that's something that's causing massive stress on the body that prevents you from, has a knock-on effect of preventing you from falling into deep sleeps, which then affects like your overall energy levels, your overall skin health, your hair health.
Yeah.
So it's a massive downward spiral of going in the wrong direction. No one here, listeners, I can guarantee you, is overeating on fruits or vegetables. No one, not even me. Nobody is doing that. So if you increase them, how many? Double whatever you're doing right now. The recommended is 5. If you could have 5 per meal, wouldn't that be amazing? I've had a carrot and a cucumber today, and it's not even, say, 12 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And greens. Those are 3 items that I've had. I've had an apple. Geez, and more, think of it, there's more vegetables in it. But like, that's what I want more and more people to do. And it's very easy. And people say, what do I do? Organic food is hard to find. There are numerous different places that you can gain the advantage of getting organic. So people say, I don't have that type of money. Okay, I have the solution for you. Grow your own. It costs you a packet of seeds, costs you $2.50. If you don't have $2.50, I tell them I would give you €2.50. You buy the packet of seeds, you grow the vegetable, whether it's rocket or tomato or a cucumber or potatoes, and as a result of that, then you can really save seeds from that for next year. Then you owe me €5, and that's how I make money. All right, but that is it. Like, we are literally complicating things.
So funny.
You either have more time or you have more money. That's exactly what I'm going to tell people that ever say to me, complain, because complaining gets you nothing. Just
yes, exactly.
Absolutely
and
nothing.
Find excuses is the easiest.
Yeah, you can make excuses or you can have results.
Yes, I love that. So what is your recommended routine when it comes to exercises?
Yeah, well, my recommendation is everyone's got to walk, whether you're my 3-year-old niece or you're my 96-year-old granny. The idea is we've got to get outside, right? Sunlight is the key thing to energy. I suppose this podcast could be called Energy Boosting Tips. The idea is, all right, we're writing that down. That's been written down this second because that's absolute gold. Thank goodness, godness. Okay, so the key thing is sunlight is the key to health. It really grows healthy fruits and vegetables, and it's something that also regenerates our cells. But the sun is also demonized, another thing that's essential. But there's a difference between morning and evening sunlight as opposed to the harsh rays that can and are out there at midday or just beyond it. So really getting morning sunlight, has all the full spectrum sunlight, inclusive of infrared, which people are spending hundreds of euros on, those masks and the bloody light things. Okay, if you're spending that and you tell me that organic food is expensive, you spend €500 on that mask thing and say you don't have enough money for organic vegetables, I will throw this spud at your head and go, you're joking me, because you just spent €500 and you would buy a lot of organic fruits and vegetables and meats and eggs and everything else for €500. That's a lot of food. That'd be loads.
That's a lot of food. Yeah.
That's a lot of food. Okay. And
now, there it is a point where we disagree. The only reason because I recommend the red light therapy is because people are in offices and they stay inside. Now, if they will have the lifestyle to be able to get out in the morning, have that time outside, that's luxury for me. That's abundance. That's living in the best life when you can control that and have your morning at your disposal and do whatever you want to do with it. That's luxury for me. But for people who are not, and they need to get into the office by 9 o'clock and they don't get that, buy a bloody lamp. Because will do your mental health good.
Yeah.
And I don't have any partnerships with anything, but I'm just saying that there is a point where it plays a role, and I understand where they are getting it. But 100% I agree with you. Like, if you are able to get out, the best thing.
Yeah, 100%. But even on that point, yeah, there's a point for buying or using anything, whether it's a supplement that you mightn't be able to get, whether it's, I'm going to say, magnesium, increasing it if you're extremely stressed, that would be beneficial. But if that person is saying, I don't have any money, great. You have
Yes,
to, you
okay,
have to get outside.
Totally.
And when you get outside, you're walking. That's your exercise started. You're getting sunlight, full infrared, and all the other spectrums, naturally waking up your body, which also then is something that sets your circadian rhythm, which has a knock-on effect to improving your sleep. Like, if you're not getting outside, you're missing a massive trick. And would you believe?
And it's cheap. It's free. Not cheap. It's free.
It couldn't be free. It starts with a capital F, starts with a capital E and a capital E, or I've misspelled it already.
R-E-E.
There we go. I've said fee. So that is it. Like, get outside, and either get outside or eat foods that have been grown in sunlight, whether that's fruits or vegetables or the animals that graze off the grass that has been grown with the likes of the sunlight, is where all the energy's at.
You wrote a book. When?
I wrote a book, to tell you the exact date now, is probably about 3 years ago. So that's bring up 2025. We're in now in 2022. That book came out, and it took me 2 years to write it. And as I said, I'm dyslexic. It was
That's what
difficult.
I wanted to make a point there. So did you think first that I'm going to write a book? And did you come with your own obstacle saying that, how am I going to write a book because I'm dyslexic? What was the process in that? I'm very curious. Just in case someone there wants to write a book and they are dyslexic and they feel like it can't be done.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, like, I'm not the best at anything. Right? I'm not the best at anything, not the best speller, not the best public speaker. And you don't ever have to be the best. You just have to be your best.
Absolutely.
You just have to literally do, if you want something, you just have to make it happen. Yeah. You want a better job. You want a better relationship. You want a better situation where you're at home, you're growing some of your own produce. You literally make that 1% improvement by walking, by eating better, by talking to someone who can help you, a coach, or there's loads of free information out there. People say, Colman, I don't have that much money. I put out more and better free content online than some people's paid stuff. The idea, I post 3 times a day. I post podcasts weekly. I have a YouTube channel with over 1,000 videos over the last 5 years. Like, the idea is there's all the information in the world. You have AI to tell you how to do everything. But the thing is, you have to do it. That's only information. So putting it into practice, I found out that I had a amount of passion for being healthy. And I was like, geez, I'd love to be super healthy and pass on and teach people, because I deep down probably wanted to be a teacher when I was in school. Firstly, probably originally, because probably for the holidays, but now... Now it's more so for the fulfillment of work that I enjoy. And from that, I now do it indirectly. I teach people either online or in events or through this podcast, and pass on golden tips on nutrition, on exercise, and or growing your own. And that kind of fills my cup in itself. So
And you are a teacher.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a teacher now.
Yeah.
I took the back road.
Yes, you took the back road.
Took the back road. It took me a little bit longer to get there, but I'm super glad that I am here and educating people in a positive way, and in a way that's manageable in bite-sized chunks. So I meet people where they're at. So that's why I love working with people online. And it just helps me to understand where that person is, whether they've got no kids, 2 kids, they work in an office, or they work at home, and to make a lifestyle that fits them. You don't ever have to do what I do, but if you do want to write a book, or if you do want to make an improvement on your life, you just ask the right person the right question, you get the right answer. And that's it. It's as simple as that.
Do you ever get into a moment when you feel that you are struggling and it's hard, and how you get out of there? If you get there.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess you're not perfect, really.
No, it's far from it. Far from it. Do you know what I mean? I've receding hairline, I have a chipped tooth, I have a broken nose. The idea is I'm only 5'7". People think I'm big and tall and confident. There are loads of things I'm afraid of. I want better for myself. I don't have a partner. I don't have any kids at 35. So the idea is, perfect my ass. What are you talking about? Do you know what I mean? There's nothing perfect about that. So people often put people up on pedestals. Don't put me up on pedestals. Maybe people don't. So I'm just only saying that, for example, don't put that friend of yours, that sister, that brother, or whoever it is in work that's better than you, that's faster than you. Who cares about them? What you have to do is focus in on you. Like, the whole podcast is circling around energy. And the idea is you have to literally realize that if you want something better, you have to get up off your ass and do something about it.
Totally. I love that. So powerful. So powerful. Thank you so much, Colman. What are you at the minute? Now we are in end of February and the podcast is going at the end of March. But where you are at right now and where you are going this year.
This year. Yeah, very good.
Because I know you are doing a lot of events and live events and
Yeah, I'm going all around the country and online. That's where I'm going. So, in a nutshell, but for the most part, with that major event that we just completed last September, just gone, it was the longest mile to Mizzen. So we stopped off at 10 regenerative farms from Donegal all the way to West Cork. We stopped off, I said Donegal, then we went to Sligo, Clive Bright, we went to, after that, to Madjoke in Galway and Crockwell, then we went to Brendan's in Fearbia Farm, then we went down to 2 different locations in Cork, 3 in fact, went to Peter Toomey's, the Cork Rooftop Garden, and we went to Noan Rock. So those are all different farmers, from pig to chickens to fruits and vegetables to meats and everything else. Goats was Noan Rock in West Cork, which was amazing. We cycled the end of the country. I'm not a cyclist. If people have ever seen me, I do home workouts. I'm like the Irish Joe Wicks, but better. So that's who I am. And I didn't even have a bike when I first started, and I had to get a lend of my mum's bike for the first training session, but I quickly had to upgrade to a racer bike. And from that, it was an experience of a lifetime, and I'm super grateful to do it. And that was extremely tough. That was a major undertaking. 10 different events, 10 days in a row. And I'm going to tell you, with 10 farmers, that's not easy to organise. I'm going to tell you. I'd love to tell you there was loads of PA people behind the scenes doing all the marketing, doing all the logistics. Nope. You're looking at myself and Brendan Guinan from Fearbia Farms in Laois, that they were the main drivers behind that. And it's something that I'm super delighted to connect people with farms, because even people in my own family.
So what was the logistic? You cycled between those farms?
Cycled 1,270 kilometers over 8 days. 10 different events.
So every stop was an event?
Every stop was an event and a banquet of their food that was produced on the farm or very close to it, from sourdough. Oh my God.
Absolutely
we
brilliant.
ate like kings. And there's a documentary that we made of it. It's not only because we made it.
And is available online?
Not at all. It's available in private viewings all around the country. The amount of effort. We can talk about money.
You should do that.
We are doing. Leave it online.
Yes, like do a documentary.
We have it made.
Okay.
We have it made. We have this made, so it's available, right? So this is the business head of me. Cost us thousands to make this. Oh my God! And then I was shocked when the TV guy Dan Dunn told us this is what it cost. What? But anyway, so now we have that made, and we've showed it in Limerick. We just showed it in Limerick. We're now going to County Waterford. That'll be in the month of March, and then it'll probably be, well, it's hard to know what'll happen after that. But when you're listening to this, most certainly check out my social media channels. It's Colman Power, my name. That'll have the likes of all the locations of where it's going to be, or where it's going to be available. So it's private viewings that we're doing, just to, I suppose, make back the cost of it. Because this didn't happen. Like, people, again, this is easy for Colman. No, I had to get up and put my own money from my own savings into this, and I didn't 100% know that was going to work. Yeah. Like, I have to believe in it. And I do believe in it. I did, and thank Christ, it's going in the right direction. It's going up. But like, we haven't even hit green. We're in the red.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So easy.
It's passion, and I think what is the same with my podcast. I love the podcast. I love having people here. I get so much out of talking to you, and I can come in with low energy and having a bad day before and whatever, and I'm
spitting beetroot on your leg.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me. He's going to tell me for the rest of the year. No. But that's like, and I'm not making any money. Like, people are, and I had guests. I invited someone and I asked, the first question what I asked, how much money do you make per episode? And I just found an excuse to not to have that person in. Because if people don't, like, if everything what you're doing is only for financial reward, you're not my people. Like, I'm so deep rooted in my values and in what drives me, that passion, health, authenticity, that's why we are friends. Like, we are.
Your health is your wealth.
Yeah.
You would give away all the money that you have if you were chronically ill tomorrow. You give away a penny away. So what the hell is money worth to you, right? And as someone that's a business owner, I run my own business. money is important. We need it to buy the fruits and vegetables,
Totally.
to go to different events, to literally fulfill your own needs on a daily basis.
I couldn't make it here if I didn't pay for it. Okay?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm grateful for the financial resources, but it's not what drives me, and it's not what drives you.
No,
Yeah.
it's certainly not. Yep, I'm not making a killing right now. The idea is in the future, that is definitely one of the things that I want to improve on, my, I suppose, finances. But the idea is I have so much energy and passion right now. I can give it to people in abundance. And I'm giving it socks here to anyone who's listening or watching. I'm super grateful that you are listening or watching. And if you haven't ever heard of me, firstly, you've been living underneath a rock. But secondly, I really want you to just literally do one thing for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Is there anything else what you want to stress or focus on, telling people what amazing? Oh, you're doing the Camino.
Oh,
again.
Camino.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're
There you
doing the
go.
Camino. That's in March. We will have another one in October. This one's sold out. Thank God. That's something that...
So, okay, explain that. What means you are doing the Camino and what means it's sold out? So you are a leader?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. And then
People book with me, and we most certainly bring them in a package for a full week of walking and eating healthy foods and a lifestyle of, I'm going to say, meeting like-minded people. And that's what people want.
I did Camino in 2019 and it's so absolutely brilliant. It's such a... Now you can do Camino wherever you want. Your Camino can be in Ireland on like Waterford, whatever, Greenway. But the Camino, it's the walk with yourself, with your thoughts, with you, the people around you, even though you don't know anyone. And you reach out and you say hello and connect. The sun connects you, the rain connects you, the food connects you, the tiredness connects you, everything. Was so powerful.
And people are literally willing to share absolutely anything and help you, and they've never met you before, but you're on the same wavelength, right? The same frequency. You all have the same energy. That is definitely this week's podcast topic, energy. All right. So I love that, and I suppose loving to share that opportunity with anyone else who would like to come. So that's something, that's another event that's coming up very, very, I'm going to say, shortly. But on top of that, there is the opportunity to go in October again, which will definitely happen. I do different retreats. I do different wellness retreats.
You do that. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And they're based typically down in Cork, down in Skull, in a location just, I'm going to say, 5 minutes walk from the likes of the beach. And it's something that has grounding. There's yoga, there's nutrition talks and demos. And from that, it's just a weekend of, I'm going to say, overall health again, with saunas that are inclusive of the, I suppose, holistic approach to literally healing from the inside out, sweating out negativity, bringing in positivity when you come out and you give a high five or a hug to somebody who you've only just met, but you feel like you've literally known them your whole life. And that's what I'm all about, trying to connect the dots, connect the farmers, connect people to the right type of foods, because it's that whole thing that people are looking for. They're looking for an improvement, and it comes from whatever you surround yourself with. So between the Camino, the likes of the retreats, online coaching that I do, and private groups of growing your owns, all those things are things that I have coming up in 2025. But not only that, we've done the likes of the West Coast, we're now going to do the likes of the East Coast, and by God, it's a fair cycle. But it's something that I have to do with the likes of Brendan from Fearview Farms in Laois, that connects all them people to the, I'm going to say, right type of food, because Ireland has a huge history of growing food, but we just need to support it, and more so find people that are very close to it that would like to support it in the community. So that's something that's going to happen again. The farms haven't been announced. So if anyone is on the likes of the East Coast of Ireland, starting from the top right all the way down, finishing in Waterford, my hometown, we are looking for organic or regenerative farms that produce either meats, eggs, could be fish inclusive, or meats, eggs, fruits, vegetables, or anything else in between, that has a farm that can host, I'm going to say, up to 50 people for each one of those events. That's something that's happening next September.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Such a beautiful way to close. Do you have a question for me?
Do I have a question for you? The question I would ask you is, what is your favorite organic fruit or vegetable?
Oh my God, I have so many. Where do I start? Organic fruit or vegetable? All. I don't have... Beetroot.
There we go. Beetroot. It did as she looked
Beetroot,
down at
it's
her
actually-
pants, it glowed up in purple. There's a glow that nearly came from.
I think it goes both as fruit as vegetable. I am actually. Oh, and I like ginger. I was called at some stage, and at my very start of my health journey I was Mrs. Ginger.
Oh.
I could have ginger with it. But beetroot is definitely close to my heart. Yeah.
Beetroot, it is top of the list, and I'd highly recommend it to more and more people.
But I love absolutely all of it. I cannot eat avocado. I can't. My body is just going in. Don't kill me. Literally. But other than that, I love all the vegetables and fruits. And blueberries. Oh my God.
There we go.
Blueberries.
See, she went straight for beetroot, and now she's going to blueberries.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? All the
But
purples.
from the same exactly.
Yeah, all the purples. She's got it. She knows what she wants. Very, very important. Yeah, and I love teaching people how to grow. Like, beetroot is probably one of the easiest vegetables to grow. It's a large seed. It has very few pests and diseases. You sow your seeds in March when this podcast is coming out. Get your seeds, lads. It couldn't be easier. You put them in a cup. No, put them in the likes of your egg containers that you're getting locally. And as a result of that, you fill it with soil. Where do you get soil? You dig a hole. These are things that pretty much it cost you $2.50 so far, and maybe $2.50. You'll gain loads from it. You put in your beetroot seeds, 1 seed per cell, which is 1 seed per each one of those. That's 6 seeds in total. You then, when they start to germinate, when they get big enough and the roots are starting to hit the bottom, you literally cut that little egg container, grab it, pop it into the likes of the ground, because the cardboard will break down. Great, it actually feeds the beneficial soil microbes. There's also beneficial soil microbes not only in your gut, but also in the likes of the ground as well. From that, literally, fist spacings. That's a rule you'll never forget. 1 egg cup container, fist space, the next one here. And you can do a good few of those, clearing ground right now, literally, that you can literally plant and have your own beetroot. That is something that can improve the likes of your cognitive function, your brain, with increased blood flow, which also improves your skin, and also is something that is so simple to grow in itself. And if anyone's looking for more tips or wants to contact me in itself, you just literally contact me through social media. It's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, my name, C-O-L.
Exactly. We'll put everything in description anyway, so the links will be there, so you can contact Colman at any time. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure, a joy, and a bliss to have you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for sparking our day.
Thank you.
Thank you.